Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Top Shelf Gaming and Tech. I'm Chevy, and this time we're going to be talking about two receivers. This one being the USB dongle receiver for the PC. That's a funny word, dongle. So, yeah, USB receiver, Bluetooth receiver for the PC, and the retro 8bitdo receiver for the NES and Snes Classic Consoles. Now, that being said, this can be used on the PC via the micro USB to USB outlet for the PC. So you can plug this in through the PC using that side, and you got Bluetooth signal, man. I did it for a couple games. I was kind of blown away. I was just like, oh shit, what's this? Okay, and I guess it's used so that you can actually update it for future reference through the site, because they got a support page at 8bitdo. So that was awesome, and it pretty much made this one, like, it's not obsolete. Like, this is primarily for the Switch as well as the PC, so that's why this one's kind of a thing. But it's nice to know that if you were like on a budget, completely on a budget, and you didn't have extra money to grab that as well as this is $15 less than that one, and it'll act as a receiver for your PC as long as you have this little mini micro, well, any micro USB to USB to the PC will work. But it's just cool that I know that I can use that for the PC as well as the NES and SNES Classic, and the Wii, I might add, since it has the same connector. So that's awesome. Now, as far as functionality goes, which is half the reason why I made the video, they do exactly what they're supposed to do. It is a Bluetooth receiver meant to wirelessly connect up to any of your Bluetooth controllers. Both receivers there are compatible with all 8bitdo controllers as well as the arcade sticks that they make. And it'll do PS4, PS3, the Wii U Pro controller, the Switch Pro controller, the Switch Joy-Cons even. It's impressive what those receivers can actually communicate with. So I used both of these on the PC, and I captured some gameplay of Left 4 Dead as well as Destiny 2 on the PC with this receiver right here, and I was blown away. Every little nuance, every tiny little vibration, because the SN30 Pro supports vibration compatibility. It was perfect. Playing Destiny 2 is almost like playing it on the console. Well, pretty much basically like playing it on the console, except it's running at like 100 frames per second versus 30. And it was just buttery smooth. Like I said, every tiny little jump that you would do, double jump, and then landing on the ground from a high height in Destiny 2, you could feel it all. Every little vibration, every little rumble. So that controller, man, it's probably my go-to controller. It doesn't necessarily take over the Xbox One controller. Like, if you primarily game on PC and PC is your platform of gaming only, it will not take the Xbox One S controller. The Xbox One controller is pretty much my top controller of all time, for whether it's Xbox or PC. It's the most comfortable. I find shooters and stuff like that, when you're playing shooters with a controller, the diagonal offset of where the thumbsticks are, the thumbstick layout is a lot better to have it diagonally offset versus side by side, kind of like the SNES SN30 Pro classic controller. So even though that classic controller worked fine, like all the footage that I'm capturing here of Destiny 2 and Left 4 Dead is with the SN30 Pro. So it's snappy. It just feels natural when you're playing, because there's different button layouts for the controller depending on how you turn it on. I believe the PC one is hold start and X, and it will turn on to the PC buttoning layout of any game that you're playing on PC. So that it just feels natural. It definitely felt like I was playing the console game on the PC, and it was an amazing little bit of gameplay that I got there, and I had to actually unglue myself from the game, because it was fun. It was just fun to play with the controller. I primarily play all my games on PC with the mouse and keyboard, but it's nice to have the controller aside for platformers and stuff. And I think, like I previously mentioned in my last video, third-person games, like shooters even, as well as, like I said, Friday the 13th. If Friday the 13th is a funny breed, that if you're good and you get good, you can own with the keyboard and mouse with that game, because as I said, you can turn on a dime with Jason. If you're Jason hunting the counselors, you can turn on a dime with the mouse. So I can't necessarily say that it's a terrible game to play with the keyboard and mouse. If you know the mapping and you have the buttons mapped out properly, you will own. But there's something to be said about playing a game with a controller, and especially games that are meant for it, and that's kind of a game that was meant for the controller. So I gotta say, man, having the accessibility of being able to use that controller on PC is a blessing for sure. And Left 4 Dead, I played Left 4 Dead 2 as well, and that game functioned just as I thought it would with the controller. It felt natural as well. I had it set to the PC layout, and there was a bit of a learning curve just because I haven't played that game for a long time on PC with a controller. It's mainly been keyboard and mouse for pretty much anything first-person orientated on PC. But I gotta say, after a while playing, it just feels natural. So I have to say, it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. So PC side of things are looking good. Now back to what I primarily got the retro receiver for. First and foremost was the SNES Classic as well as the NES Classic, and it does exactly what it says it does. It connects up to your SN30 Pro or SN30 controllers, the ones that don't have the joysticks, and it's very intuitive, very snappy, quick. There's no latency issues with connecting up with the controller, and or any connection issues with the controller receiving data back and forth for when you press a button, like when you press jump and then it jumps a second later. It doesn't happen on here with this controller. It's very, like, second to second. Everything works as it should, so it's as if it was plugged in like an authentic Nintendo controller. That's the one big issue that people have with Bluetooth or anything wireless, is the latency issues and feedback between the controller and the system. And especially being on like the newer HD screens now that are 4K capable, and you get that kind of audio, video, and controller lag and stuff like that, there's no latency issues whatsoever here. So I'm happy to report that the receiver does entirely what it's supposed to do, and at a fraction of the cost of the 8bitdo USB receiver for the PC and Switch. If you don't have a Switch and you just have a PC and that's your primary platform, like I said, this is the receiver to get, because you just basically plug it in through the USB into your computer and it just hangs off. You can put it on the side of your computer and it'll Bluetooth wirelessly link up with your controller that way. And then now you got Bluetooth to your computer using that receiver. You don't need to get the separate dongle for the PC. So if you're gaming on a budget, definitely do that route. Especially if you have a Wii, because like I said, this is the same connector that the Wiimotes have at the bottom of the controller for the connection of the nunchucks. And this would basically act as a Bluetooth receiver for your SN30 Pro while you were playing retro games on the Wii, because I think I have several retro games that I downloaded off the Wii eShop back in the day that are still on my Wii. So I'm almost positive that controller would work, because the classic controller is basically like the SN30 Pro controller. So I don't know. I'd be interested to try that out just to see if it'll work. Pretty sure it will. And then all you people that hack your Wii or have homebrew on your Wii, and you have all the SNES, NES, Master System, and Genesis games, you can probably plug that in and play all those games with the Pro controller. So yeah, I'm thoroughly impressed with the connectivity of the controller to PC as well as the SNES Classic Console. I played through Mega Man X, I played Punch-Out, I played a little Star Fox, Super Mario World, and it all pretty much was represented the way it should be from back in the day, with just using a wireless controller and not wired. So it felt like it was wired. That's how quickly and snappy the controls were. I was just straight blown away. I was expecting some issues for some reason. I don't know why, but I just figured it being on the hardware that it is being on a newer HD screen, because mine is a 4K TV, and I had it plugged into an HDMI socket that wasn't 4K, because there's only two HDMI sockets on my TV that are 4K capable. So I just made sure I plug it into them, and it's just into a regular HDMI socket. So it played and functioned fine between the PC and the SNES Classic Console, so I'm happy to say it is worth it. And I'm almost going to make a series of videos for tech and digital devices and receivers and stuff like that, whether it's worth it or turf it. That's kind of what I'm gonna call it, a worth it or turf it thing. So let me know in the comments what you guys have, if you got the retro receiver for the NES and SNES Classic, or if you have the 8bitdo PC or Switch Bluetooth receiver. And what are your thoughts on both of them? Do they work well for you? Are you having any issues? Because like I said, I've only been using these for a few hours. I'm going to use them more and more as time goes on, but I'm happy to report that for the time that I've used both of them, I've had no issues, and they connected up fine, and the controller functions as it should. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this episode of Top Shelf Gaming and Tech. I'm Chevy, and I'll catch you on the next one.